Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you to part 58 of Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History. And don't worry, I haven't lost all my hair just yet. It's that I've gone blonde. Yeah, because they have way more fun. Let's not beat around the bush with that. And something I kind of wanted to try and do, maybe going a little bit forward, that Saturdays will sort of I'm gonna try and reserve these to do um each part of the Gino Samuel documentary, and this is what we're going to do. So I know I'm gonna just pause just for one moment just before we get going because sorry, it's that literally it was like very spur of the moment what happened because literally I just got started chatting to a girl and I possibly might be going out on a lunch date tomorrow in lunchtime. So stranger things have happened, and I think for what they are worth now, I think it's time that we got this show on the road. So previously, uh, uh just 1 second. There we go. Is that? Yeah. Apparently, I'll possibly be going out on a lunch date tomorrow afternoon, and that's just roughly about it. So let's get this party started, shall we? So also share audio tab. Yeah, absolutely share. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so what if I just opened? There we go. That should have things sorted. So, is there any way I can edit the the camera perhaps to? No, probably wouldn't. Just let me just check the thing one more time just before we. There we go. So let's get this show on the road, and hopefully we'll get this done by nightfall. Okay, so here we go. Part 58. Here we go. She had to
What made her? What is the attraction? What keeps us fascinated? This is the story of Chris Chan. On September 9th, 2017, Christine revealed on Facebook a new drawing of her girlfriend, Jessica Quinn, writing that she had turned out to be the woman initially named Lovely Weather, Chris's destined as depicted in Sonichu.
I appreciate Chris's efforts for going for Lee, I suppose, but oh well, I think he tried his best, even though she kind of almost looks a little bit like a peanut. But all things considered, also by the way, for those who don't know, this is a story where Chris starts developing sort of a fascination towards fat appreciation because of Jessica Quinn's fetish, I suppose.
Issue 10, noting the similarities in their drawn appearances. The next day, Chris went to Twitter to compliment on her cute performance style after seeing the latest episode of the cartoon. Jessica saw the tweet, which was also shared on Chris's Facebook profile, showing her surprise. Chris apologized, stating that she only wanted to let Andrea know that she liked the way she said her lines, and meant for the comment to stay on Twitter. Jessica wrote that it was odd how Chris wanted to tell the voice actress that she liked the sound of her voice, when Jessica was waiting for Christine to get back to talking to her. Quinn then reminded her that Chris allegedly belonged to her, accompanying her message with a selfie of threatening aura. Chris afterwards publicly acknowledged that she belonged to Jessica and was not interested at all at pursuing anything more than platonic communications with artists which she liked. On September 11th, Christine wrote an email to controversial illusionist and self-proclaimed psychic Uri Geller, asking for his advice regarding psychic powers.
Dear.
Hello, Uri. Guessing you might predict my email to you. Close parentheses.
I doubt it.
Anyhow, I am Miss Christine Chandler in Rockersville, Virginia, US.
By the way, controversial opinion coming, but literally don't go and start listening to psychics. The absolute biggest con, and the sooner you guys understand that literally, because I guess Yuri is no Clinton Baptiste, but Clinton Baptiste is just not really worth it either.
Say, I just read your name in the psychokinesis chapter of my copy of Develop Your Psychic Skills. I have been working on my own psychic skills. I have found I do have some, and I practice most daily. So close to making the trading card I've been practicing with, or even my pen, levitate. If I can, I would like to seek a more expert psychic skill training. I'm a still getting out there artist and creator. Anyhow, should you help me get further on with my skills, or guide me well, I would be most grateful. Thank you. Have a great and safe day. Sent from my iPhone. Stay safe. Christine W. Chandler. Geller soon responded. Hi Christine, I don't teach one-on-one or give lessons. Most of my books are free to read on my website. Quite frankly, I believe you are wasting your time. There are more productive things in life than levitating a pen. Put your energy into those. Being a motivator, a positive thinker, helping others, a bit of meditation, some spirituality, empowering others, etc., etc., etc. Much energy and love, Yuri. Sent from my iPhone.
Well, you heard it.
The next day,
Yep.
Christine responded with another email. I am not wasting my time. I have my psychic friend,
Yeah, I am Chris claiming that I am not wasting my time, and then starts babbling about Magi-chan. Oh dear, Chris. I mean, I know it's basically kicking a dead horse at this point. Chris trying to justify to others that Chris is not wasting her time, whilst also just having her hair covering her eyes. I don't really understand what the point of that is, and let's just pretend that it doesn't mean anything either. So, moving on.
Magi-chan Sonichu, and my own dimensional psychic links to my Quickville and beyond. I have had a lot of deja vu moments in my life. I am not just looking for mere levitation, but I intend to do a lot more good with my psychic powers to bring peace and take down up to all of the internet haters and bullies. I need to do all these in my own control. And I did also ask for recommendations of anyone else who could help me better develop my powers. Your frank response left me feeling disappointed and disgusted with you right now. Until the later time when I recover from this feeling, because I have a lot of other stresses in my life. Ugh. Good day, Yuri. Sent from my iPhone. Stay safe. Christine W. Chandler.
Stay safe. By the way, you disgust me.
On September
I doubt
12th,
that.
Christine went to Twitter to post a seductive photo of Jessica, possibly sent to her privately, proclaiming that she was a real person and that they had future plans in the making. The next day, it became public knowledge that Chris was listening to The Lazy Cat, a podcast featuring Planet Dolan creator Doopy Doover and her boyfriend. On the 14th, Chris changed the payment method for her supporters on Patreon to upfront charging to prevent patrons from joining and then leaving before they were due for payment. Members of the Kiwi Farms noticed that Chris's announcement post was near directly copied from a Patreon post written by creator Kip Tay Tay, who specialized in illustrating chubby anime girls. On September 16th, Chris showcased an updated full-body drawing of Lovely Weather, modeled after Jessica, promising to feature her in future Sonichu issues.
Good lord, her eyes are trying to eat each other.
That same day, Christine attended the Charlottesville Pride Festival, later having a picture featuring the background printed in the Daily Progress newspaper.
And later, Chris tried to prove to the world that Chris did not shit himself while this photo was being taken, or Chris was undergoing a fairly small stroke. Because, good lord, and just... Okay, never mind.
Wearing her oft-seen headgear of pony ears and unicorn horn. Apart from having a few photos of her taken, little is known of her activity at the event. On the 9th, Christine posted on Facebook a new drawing depicting her girlfriend, Jessica Quinn, in pony form, christening her character Diamond Melody. Soon after, she posted another illustration of Diamond and Chris's pony character, Nightstar, together, revealing that they are canonically a couple, or shipped. Jessica herself commended Chris's drawing efforts in the reply section. 2 days later, Chris angrily demanded on Twitter for trolls to stop bothering her Jessica, sharing the video regarding their relationship, which she had made over a week prior. This was soon followed by 2 brief posts shared both on Twitter and Facebook, the first of which proclaiming that not all trolls were bad, and then the declaration that she thought kiwis were tasty. Members of the Kiwi Farms felt that her recent posts were prompted by a troll, likely Jessica Quinn. On September 21st, Christine shared on Twitter her tips for growing larger breasts naturally by eating 12 prunes per day and glazing all non-sweet foods with soy sauce. Followers of Chris felt that this ploy of Chris gaining weight and retaining water was the result of Quinn's influence, as she was known to follow several Facebook pages concerning fetishization of overweight women. This was confirmed when Jessica Quinn replied to Chris's post, looking forward to the results of her efforts. Chris's trollsome gal pal, Kim Wilson, elaborated that phytoestrogens, as contained in soy and prunes, would not increase breast size and would only result in increased amounts of salty poops. Chris countered her comment with links to online articles from which she gathered information regarding breast increase. Kim found it sad that many girls were deceived by such pseudoscience promoted by websites preying on their insecurities to make a quick buck. Christine asked Kim why she couldn't say something supportive or positive instead.
I don't exactly know how, like, what else Kim Wilson actually has towards, like, the actual story for Chris, like, beyond this. Because didn't, like, Kim Wilson stop responding or following Chris shortly after this sort of thing? Because, it's kind of, it's fascinating the fact that I would have just, if it was just becoming obvious to Kim that, you know, Chris was just obviously not going to listen to her, because Kim Wilson's kind of like been around with the story a lot, and despite all evidence to the contrary, Chris will choose not to believe what someone who knows far better than Chris does about what's going on. This seems a bit strange, if you ask me.
To which Kim replied that since Chris had been tricked by trolls many times before, she was hoping that she wouldn't get tricked again by these websites, adding but could not support false hope. She wrote that the best way to increase breast size was either surgery or change in weight, and if she lost weight, she would increase the perceived length of her penis.
Meanwhile,
on September 23rd, in response to a tweet,
Christine
posted a
Sorbet.
photo of her cat, Sorbet, clearly showcasing the damage to his eyes. She later clarified that the photo had been taken a couple of months ago and that his one cloudy eye had recovered considerably. On that same day, Chris wrote a long Facebook post featuring her review of the Christian documentary by Satchmo.
Oh, here we go.
I was afraid of watching the Christian documentary. It would hurt me with a lot of the recounting of the events I was trolled and bullied, for the most part. But on the other hand, there could have been some commentary from various people talking about how they were inspired by me, or something, I don't know. I felt it would be way too much for me to endure watching it, so I covered my eyes with my Turby twist. I had my earbuds plugged into my iPod. I listened to the whole thing. I cried at some of the pre-2004 as they were not offensive. They reminded me of times when I was so young that I was like this or that. My tears welled into the Turby. For about everything before 2004, it was positive, it was kind. And then, starting with the early days of my sweetheart search, and Megan, and Snyder, Mary Lee Walsh, I had a bunch of oh my god moments in response, but that was cake. And then, I heard the old song I sang that makes me cringe now, in tune to I Want It That Way from NSYNC, Virgin with Rage, and then the sagas, with the trolls and the theoretical exes. All of that was a medium-sized slice of hell to me. So, in my overall feeling of that documentary, I gave it a thumbs down on YouTube. I feel like it is about 45% hellish out of the whole hour. I really wish, and I feel it would do me a whole better world of good for a documentary or a full compilation of recorded video testimonies from all of the people.
Well, isn't that just quick? I wonder if this is literally the point where, well, because it must have been right about this point in 2017 when Gino Samuel got the idea to do the documentary series. But I wonder if looking back, Chris probably shouldn't have said that, because I've never seen myself, which to be honest, it kind of feels a little bit redundant only because this series exists, but what can you do? It's still a thing.
People who are actually touched by my work or by my kindness and efforts and the genuine positive words to outweigh all that 4 years of hate. 07 to 11. I want that video made. You all wanted me to watch this documentary. I had emotional difficulties listening to it. It is done. There will not be any reaction video of me watching this documentary ever. Soon after, she wrote an update regarding her want for an updated documentary featuring testimonies from the many people, for example those she met at BronyCon, who she had touched positively. Also felt that trimming down the trolling sagas to summaries and showing off more of her kindness and personality would benefit the documentary. She addressed her past homophobic remarks, clarifying that the trollsome imagery on her Wikipedia website badly triggered her, but she became tolerant of gay men by then, as long as behind closed-door content was not pushed onto her. On September 26th, Christine posted screenshots of tweets that she had liked from creators No Whacking and Doopy Do-Over, both of whom had her blocked, which would have prevented her from seeing their Twitter activity. This meant that she was using another account, bypassing their block. However, Kiwi Farms users noticed that upon checking the activity on her other known account, Nightstar281, they found that the account's like history did not match the screenshots Chris posted, which meant that she was likely using yet another Twitter account, most probably Twice Parlicious, which some followers had previously suspected of being Christine. She gave her name on the site as Varnson, a name near identical to a pseudonym used by Jerry Seinfeld in the TV show Seinfeld. Possibly after seeing the information posted on the forums, Jessica confronted Chris for secretly following female creators like Doopy and broke off their relationship. Chris changed her relationship status on Facebook to It's Complicated, while Quinn changed hers to Single. Jessica followed up with a short post and replies to comments regarding her irritation at a certain lying, untrustworthy individual without explicitly referring to Chris. Christine then wrote a post, regretting lying to protect from a truth and sneaking to hide from the bullies. Shortly after, she updated her Facebook profile picture to a 7-second long video of herself crying and pleading for Jessica to not leave her.
Jessica, I'm so sorry. I don't want to lose you.
The Jessica Quinn, the last Sweetheart saga before the Imaginary. Yeah, this is literally thank you. The Oathkeeper. This literally is basically the last Sweetheart, and to be honest, I think it just about left the building as well, because here's the thing I never really got with this supposed Sweetheart, that the thing about Jessica Quinn is that if the intention was for Chris to come across as, actually slightly a bit more devoted to somebody, since this is the idea that being in a relationship and stuff like that, I don't know whether it was just she took it too far, or whether or not Christine was more determined to continue her lifestyle no matter what happens, just to save face. What do you guys reckon? Do you reckon it was about Chris just trying to continue exactly as before, or do you think it's one of those things? I'd like to imagine. Well, I don't know. I don't really feel good for anything that happens in this.
Jessica accused her of lying because she thought she could get away with it, saying not to blame her actions on the bullies, and attached a photo of herself scowling. Soon after, Christine wrote that her head was feeling constricted and that she would be taking some time off away from her.
We'll see.
Presumably after a private conversation, the two changed their relationship status back to being in a complicated relationship with each other. Shortly after, Chris wrote on Twitter that she was to regrettably quit following the LazyCast podcast featuring Doopy Do-Over, apologizing to them for unsubscribing. Jessica replied, thanking Chris for her decision. Christine then unfollowed Doopy and No Whacking on her Twice Parlicious Twitter account. She elaborated on Facebook that cutting off these ties felt like she was conceding defeat against her will, but did so to fulfill her promise. A Facebook friend expressed concern over her willingness to cut the aforementioned ties if she was being forced into it, while Quinn showed surprise at Chris claiming that her actions were being done against her will. 2 days later, Christine posted new unfinished pages of Sonichu, which revealed possible influence from Jessica Quinn, and the fact that Rosechu had begun to excessively eat and became overweight. Later on, Twitter user Yvonne Mora accused Chris of stealing a work of fan art by Gabriel Montero to use for the banner of her Patreon page. Chris defended herself, writing that it was a lovely piece of art and was using it in full appreciation of the artist who drew it. It was also not considered stealing because Sonichu, Rosechu, and the city of Quickville were her creations.
Oh, of course.
On October 3rd, Chris launched a new store on the merchandise creation site Redbubble, selling items branded with photographs of Chris before her transition, which include.
Okay, that's. I won't lie. I do think it's kind of funny the fact that actually it's not the worst idea Chris has ever had, because I've tried to use Redbubble a couple of years ago to try and sell off my artwork onto like all sorts of things, and it never really came to anything. But this is still kind of. I do admit this is kind of like funnier, the fact that actually it's not something that is completely out of the. I would have suspected people would have bought into stuff like this.
Included skirts or framed photographs, priced at up to $80. The next day, Christine recorded a second interview for the podcast Internet Dream Lounge. Merriweather and Easy K, promising to ask more tough questions and plan the interview accordingly to make it more entertaining than their previous effort, which had to be scrapped.
I'm doing quite fine. We already did this interview already. Just want to re-record it because the last one was quite boring. And also a few times I slipped up and didn't call you by your proper pronoun. So what was it you told me to do this time in order to make sure I don't slip up and call you instead of she?
Pretend you're talking with Natalie Portman. Hello, I'm Miss Natalie Portman. Let's have fun today, all right?
Well, Merriweather found that funny because I don't know what the hell Chris was doing.
Dude, is Natalie Portman in the room right now?
Apparently she is.
Is Natalie Portman here?
Anyway,
They briefly discussed of the Sonichu universe and the politics of Quickville before moving on to the babysitter who allegedly kickstarted Chris's descent into autism.
Early back in your timeline, like the farthest back you can remember, there was an event which shaped you as a person. It was when your childhood babysitter, who I believe she's called Miss Roach, and she locked you in your room because you were interrupting her phone call. Now, I asked you this question in a private chat between you and I, but I would like to ask you again so you can elaborate on it in our interview. Would you ever consider putting Miss Roach into your comic as a villain?
Very unlikely, because I have very little information or recollection about her past or current appearance, much less her first name. So that would be a big no.
Okay, very well. Because a lot that's kind of like the ground zero of every Christery, as it's called. Do you know that term, Christery?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, all right, that's good. You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful.
I don't know whether I've thought about like ever mentioning this before, but is it kind of like strange the fact that whenever Chris is like trying to do like interviews and stuff like that on podcasts, and Chris always comes across as just sort of like, yeah, what it's like he gets bored halfway through trying to be asked certain things, but it's like, Chris, I would have been a little bit more enthusiastic about the whole thing if somebody wanted me on a podcast. But it is what it is. I can't really like hold it too much against Chris. Just a question, by the way, to those listening: is the audio okay for what's going on? I think the audio is fine. I just wasn't too sure purposely.
Chris, let's play a game of Fuck, Marry, Kill. All right. It's a game, so I guess you haven't really had a chance to play it. It's not something you do in high school. I will mention 3 people, and here's the rules: you have to fuck one, you have to kill one.
Okay.
So let's start out with Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Donald J. Trump.
Oh, that's an obvious one. I'd have sex with Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
Let's see. Well, let me swap that. I'd marry Hillary Clinton, and okay, I'll play with Barack Obama, and I would kill Donald Trump.
Okay. Yeah, you don't like Trump very much, do you?
Yes, I do not. I had watched the political debates before the election, all three of them, and I could see from a mile away that he was an obvious narcissist. Or the psychologist coined this phrase. He is a malignant narcissist, and his actions since he came into office have definitely reflected all that.
I see. All right. Well, let's not get too into politics. Do we have anything else? All right. Just a brief moment. Chris, what's your biggest regret?
Biggest regret.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, albeit silly minor, I'd have to say my biggest regret was when one of my theoretical exes told me that she was fascinated with cake farts, and I paid $11 for this beautiful chocolate cake from Walmart that I had actually cut and eat a piece out of beforehand. And well, I sat bare ass on the cake. And after that, it was made not edible. And then
I do kind of have to really give props to Chris for saying that, because you really have to go some to admit that you regret. If you could say you regret one thing you've ever done in your life, it was frigging sitting on a cake. So Chris doesn't have any regrets about the love sign or his love quest or, the fights he got into with Michael Snyder or Mary Lee Walsh or any of the things that have happened. The only thing Chris actually kind of regrets doing was sitting on a cake. I mean, he did ruin a perfectly good cake. I will give Chris that. It looked like a nice cake, but are you sure, Chris? Are you sure that's like anything else?
And I end up having to trash that.
Jesus.
I mean,
yeah, they caught them by surprise. That.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry about the cake, man.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just want to ask, Chris, you are obviously more and more aware these days that you do have a sort of ironic kind of infamy around you and your comic. Why do you think people kind of...
I think the reason they're so fascinated by Chris is because Chris never ceases to amaze me, and in terms, as well as other people too, what an absolute dick he can be at times as well. Yeah. Oathkeeper sums it up perfectly. His life regrets sitting on a cake. Bob is burning in hell when Chris doesn't regret not spending more time with his dad. Or exactly. Chris did this in part 57 as well, as that he read a letter from his dad about solitude needing a purpose, and all Chris could just sort of do was just shrug it off, saying, "Oh, my dad." And he acted as though all that mattered to Chris is that his dad didn't get what he was trying to do. When, to be honest, if my dad had written, if I was Chris and Bob had written something like that to me, it would be extremely nice. The fact that, because it's the idea of giving your work, giving something you've done purpose, like I've said before, is that Chris seemed to struggle with actually finding like a purpose in what he did or where he was going in life. Now you could say whether or not anything external outside of like his love quest, but it was just Chris was just going off about the idea of being associated as being autistic is such like a big red flag for Chris in the middle of all this that I'm very, very surprised.
Are so fascinated by specifically you?
I'm not really sure, but I'd like to think among which I actually was a victim of a whole bunch of internet trolls, cyberboys, the real actual bad people, and that I stood against them the best as I was able to. And while I was down and out for a while, I definitely made a rebound and came back around.
They continued to discuss topics largely covered during their first attempt, such as her history with trolls, comic developments, and prospect of jobs.
Natalie Portman or
nothing.
Christine Weston Chandler, thank you very much for. Do you want to do a little bit exit? Our podcast name is Internet Dream Lounge. Do you want to give us an exit?
Yes, this has been the Internet Dream Lounge, and you have been listening to Miss Christine Weston Chandler. And easy going. Y'all have a great and safe day. Stay safe, well, love, freedom, and peace.
Christine, you just doxed me.
Good lord. Good,
Also
good,
on
good
October
point,
4th, Christine created a new account on the site Kiwi Farms using the username Legendary Christorian. She posted that she came to gather respectful questions directed at her from forum members and planned to answer them in video form. She aimed to come back once per week to take on any new questions and allowed her responses to be shared in the possible development of a better video documentary or series of her characters. Later that day, she live-streamed her responses to 40 questions on YouTube.
First off, yes, that was me on the aforementioned Kiwi Farms. I made the one post. I shall never make another post again on that web forum, but I felt need to establish that I am to face the trolls, good and bad, because we're all still individual people. And very importantly, I do this because this is like eventually happening, been waiting to happen. I face my demons of the past that have been lingering on to me for so many years. I have not been able to since I was naive, either in regular, even with regular or superpowers. I still need to address these concerns individually, and then we can move forward, and thus allowing me to ultimately find true peace of mind and solace between me and my sweetheart, and of which she has definitely voiced concerns against me doing this.
I would voice
But
my
this
concerns.
is something
Chris,
that just was going to eventually be done anyway. So, to you, my sweetie, while your comments between our back and forth earlier today, they did sting me quite a bit. But I do this for us, my love. Believe my heart, my soul is in the right place. Okay, so without further ado, we'll answer some questions. But firstly, 2 questions that were proposed to me off of Twitter. One of which, if there was anything you could change in your future message that you had made on your 25th birthday, what would it be? Initially, I would definitely remove the stay straight and swap that with find yourself for who you are. Whether you be straight, gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, whatever. You are you. You are individual. You should love, accept, and appreciate yourself. Well, I'll answer this one. It's over my head, over my knowledge. But have you ever thought about applying for Section 8 housing? As far as I'm concerned, I'll take that under consideration.
Which means
but
no.
at the moment, at this present time, I am not looking to move out just yet. Eventually, I may, but that is still years later. I can't say for certain right now. Thought about making medallions again. That is in the process. As we're working on expanding our businesses, the business and whatnot. We just opened the Brown Bubble, Red Bubble store just yesterday. We'll eventually find somebody who can make the medallions on my behalf, and those will be well to go. Okay, yes, this is a very valid question. At Quickville, Equestria, and other such places exist in different dimensions. Yes! Yes, I believe very much in the different dimensions. And I have access. If I have access to all those dimensions, I can fuse it into them just like my OC, Nightstar, can see into our dimension, our reality, watching our YouTube videos, and visiting us, visiting other dimensions.
Oh, God.
Doctor Who does it all the time, too. He's the doctor. Who's the doctor? Yes, he's the doctor. Doctor Who? Yes, he's the doctor. Oh, look! Who's the doc?
Okay, so Chris babbling like an absolute madman just for 1 second. You know what? Again, I in part 56, but you know how I made a rant about the fact about Chris was rambling like a child, and how I said that Chris's autism was like, this is what happens when precognitive neurological disorders, they go unchecked for years and they're not treated properly. Well, you could say again, Chris rambling about nothing almost is his lexicon is mostly going to start consisting of things non sequitur before even this decade is out. And good Lord, Chris will be turning 50 in 8 years' time. Just let that settle in.
Yes, he's the doctor. Jumping gigawatts.
Whatever that was.
Although possibility of children after my full transformation into being a full woman, I have heard it's successful. I can eventually bear my own child, but I'll just leave that up to...
No, Chris, you're not. Sorry, Chris. Where do you... Again, this is just Chris's level of biology, like literally seeping through his fingers. Like, where's the fetus going to kick off, Chris? What are you planning on doing? Keeping it in a box? No, that's...
future events when that can actually happen. As of at this moment, that's still...
He will be quiet about Gen 5, yeah.
I'm not going to fret too much over that right now. That's all the questions. So now, with this task, I've taken a first step towards facing my demons. And once again, I want to reiterate, do not contact any of my friends, any of my family, or any of my associates, and including and especially my sweetheart. Then I will not answer any more questions. Okay, well, aside from that, I think I'm good for this time. So until next video I record or the next question I answer, everybody, y'all have a great, safe day. Thank you for your kindness and your respect and listening.
I'm not too sure what I listened to, but okay, here we go. That's it. Moving on.
On October 5th, Chris posted on Facebook in disbelief after finding out that Jessica Quinn's Facebook profile had been deactivated. In a hasty effort to make contact with her, Chris made a short YouTube video.
Sweetie, love, I just noticed your Facebook account is being deactivated. What the hell is going on? I'm worried. What the hell? If there's something going on, I need you to tell me right away, please. You can reach me at my phone number. Text me.
Of course he would.
What's going
it.
on,
Yeah.
sweetie? What the hell?
Jessica soon messaged her, telling her that the trolls hacked her true Facebook account because Chris had interacted with them on the farms, in spite of her warnings. She called for an end to their relationship because her involvement with the trolls would badly affect her personal and professional reputation. Christine then screenshot of their last conversation on Facebook, saying goodbye to Jessica and telling either Jessica or the trolls that they would have to think about it. She then wrote that she had been backstabbed by people she had decided to forgive, referring to the trolls. In the replies, Chris's Trollsome gal pal, Kim Wilson, wrote that she was sorry that Jessica had stabbed Christine in the back. Chris clarified that it was the trolls that stabbed her in the back by hacking into Quinn's account. Kim asked how did they do that, to which Chris replied by calling her an unsupportive friend, as well as a drunk, high aqua teen addict with her sweetheart. Chris further added that Kim was high, shitted up, and stuck up her ass comments and replies. Kim Wilson did not understand why Chris was so angry with her, with Chris later telling the trolls that Kim tell them who was the magical man who appeared in a YouTube video with Chris in 2010, because Chris could not remember his name. Not long after, Christine posted another video on YouTube.
Oh, here it is.
Very upset right now. I open myself up to your damn bunch of internet trolls! You damn feeds! What the fuck? You hacked into her account! You hacked into her Facebook, you goddamn miserable, worthless, just destroying your relationship! You... All I wanted now was my peace of mind and happiness. I thought y'all wanted that from me too. Now, obviously, I was such a king. Wrong! You really blew it this time.
Okay, and once again, I just want to emphasize to everybody listening is that he says that all I'm hearing in the back